Can they hear me? Can they hear me live out there? Next beat. That ain't the beat I want.
Those was wood beats
beat.
right
Another
there.
beat. Nope. Give me another beat. Give me another beat. Nope, that's not it. That's the beat. Turn it up.
Oh, word.
Turn it up. I gotta hear it a little louder. Can you make it louder than my headphones? Turn me up in my headphones. I'm still stuck in the 80s/90s. Lottos, kangaroo boots, natty ghosts, Velas, jumpsuits and troops, Junos, color Levi's, Bugs Bunny sweaters with the rhinestone ring on it. Fighting and making up the next day. Nobody getting shot. Working a hustling to get it, a get got. We had love for the streets, our family, our foes, our friends. Respect for the elderly. Pager/payphone, sneaking into Adam's Theater. Watching Crush grooving tougher than leather. Hopping gates out the college port to bang out, cause you don't wanna get caught at mom's crib or at Vaughn's crib. Eating funny dinner with the fam. Church every Sunday, 8 o'clock a.m. And even if I fell asleep in the back row or played sick, no matter what, man, I still had to go 80s, baby. He's a DJ, I'm the rapper. He's a DJ, I'm the rapper. 80s, baby. He's a DJ, I'm the rapper.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode number 96 of the Xcast here on the EmpireMedia.com. I'm your host, Josh Houslander. With me, as always, Adam Hernandez. It's day 5309 in the search for Tim Chevelday. Hey, we're going off to a little bit of a late start tonight. We were hoping to come at you earlier with an episode of Politics of the Empire, but we're going to have to delay it until next week. So next week, not before the Xcast, actually, before Deep Issues, we will be coming at you, me, Adam, and Dorf, coming at you with Politics of the Empire. Next week, around 8 Eastern Time-ish. That's for next week, and then we'll follow by Deep Issues. But tonight we got the Xcast, and we have a special guest tonight, actually. We're going to introduce someone that some of you may know if you've been following some of our other podcasts in the past. And he's been on this show, too. But we're going to introduce our new political consultant and Xcast contributor, Glen Updike, is going to be on the show in a little bit, talking some politics, pissing off Adam, making the Xcast great again is what he's going to do, I think. For us. How are you doing, Adam? I love it when that's the response I get from you. But what were we going to talk with Politics of the Empire? We're going to do what?
Well, next week's episode of Politics of the Empire will be, is liberty lost through evolution and gained through revolution?
Cool topic.
So, yeah, I think it's a cool topic. There's a lot of... I'll save most of it for next week. Yeah, I will just say something right now that I am going to say it is most certainly gained through revolution, but right. I'll save anything else for next week.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree. No, it'll be a cool show. We'll say that for next week, and we're gonna talk some politics tonight with Glen. Mostly because there's a ton going on right now. I mean, this has been a busy week and a half for. I don't even know if it's for politics or if it's just been a busy week for just nonsense, for things for people to freak out about, I guess. But we got the government shutdown going on. I love government shutdowns. I think they're great. I love them. I love how you can never be surprised at how little a government shutdown can affect your life. There's no, it just knows no bounds, knows no ends as to how little a government shutdown can affect your daily life. Mm-hmm. It's fun. I love it. And it's a great thing to just annoy people about. It's an internet troll's dream.
I'll save my thoughts on it because is that going to be a topic that comes up?
I don't know. You know what? We're going to kind of let Glen choose the topics tonight. So if you want to say something, jump in, man. I mean, you're good. It's
I mean, I certainly see where you're coming from with the government shutdown thing. Mm-hmm. And I guess in theory, I agree with you. Mm-hmm. But the problem with this government and really all government shutdowns that have happened,
right?
It's not a true government shutdown. It's not a true government shutdown, and we all know that the same type of government is going to be coming back when it does open up.
Exactly.
It's not like this is some type of legitimate revolution where the government is being overthrown and it's going, you're going to have, some type of anarchist society.
No, it's not. It's.
And again, people, I'm not. You may hear me say the word anarchist and freak out. One of the most misunderstood political terms ever.
It really
is anarchy.
You know what, Adam? And the thing is, people accuse me of being an anarchist, and at times, and I'm actually not technically an anarchist, but people accuse me of it. And the thing is, I'm like, you know what? I'm only bothered by your accusation because I feel like I'm not talking about you. The person saying this has no idea what
anarchy is.
What anarchy is.
Mm-hmm.
You are confusing anarchy with chaos.
Yes.
Where chaos can occur. Some of the governmental systems in our world that are the exact opposite of anarchy have chaos all the time.
Yeah.
The government is
chaos
what
can be
chaos.
Chaos can be more associated with government.
Yes.
Than somebody might not realize.
Right.
Chaos is a very ambiguous and loose term anyway.
It is.
You could classify what's going on now with the government as chaos.
Sure.
And in every sense of the word, based on their ideal way of running the country, and what I mean by ideal, I mean the ruling class. Mm-hmm. This is chaos for them.
Right.
It is absolutely 100% chaos.
Yeah.
It's not anarchy, though.
No, it's not even close.
It's not even close to anarchy. Anarchy is, from everything that I've seen, anarchy is it's actually a very organized society.
Yeah.
Anarchy, like I said, it's an organized society. I even mentioned this before, that one of the biggest anarchist magazines in Europe, you know what it's called?
What?
Organize. It's called Organize.
Yeah.
And again, people are going to say like, oh, well, that's an oxymoron, or that doesn't make sense, or, they're going against their own rules. Okay, well, again, that's somebody who doesn't understand what anarchy truly is. Just because there's anarchy or an anarchist system of government, quote unquote, I really don't like to use the term government, but it doesn't mean there's not rules put in place.
Right.
It's a total misnomer. It's total bullshit coming from somebody who doesn't understand what it is.
No, people love to say things when you mention anarchy. People love to say things like, well, if there was anarchy, then somebody would just take over. Somebody who is bigger or more powerful would just take over and threaten you with violence. No, that's government. You just described government.
Yes. No, that is government. And government is something that is an institution that will use violent force against somebody to
everything government does, they do through threat of violence.
Which is and we see it right now, or we've seen it before. There are two anarchist societies right now going on in the world currently right now, two of them, and in both cases there's a state government trying to take them over and basically put them out. One of them is Rehova. People, I'm sure, are well aware of the Kurds in northern Syria, northern Iraq. They actually run an anarchist society there. Now, I know this is what's going to differ from a lot of people, but it's actually an anarcho-communist society, which I know is going to go against what some people's beliefs, including my colleague here across from me. But it is technically an anarchist society, and they're trying to be put out by not only the Syrians, but one of the biggest, most corrupt, totalitarian governments on the face of this earth in Turkey, who is supported right now by the United States.
Right.
The other one is the EZLN. in southern Mexico, and the Chiapas, the Zapatistas, they are an anarchist society as well. Other anarchist societies that have been put in place was Free Ukraine, back during the early 1900s. They were put out, I believe, by the Soviet Union and the Bolsheviks. And they too were an anarcho-communist society, but lo and behold, they were put out, I believe, by state communism. Another one was the society that came about during the Spanish Revolution. They ended up being put out by Franco and his fascist totalitarian government. So, anarchist societies have existed, and they currently exist today.
No, you're right, Adam. Great job, by the way. Good history lesson. Good kind of current political lesson on it too. The only thing I would say is that one could still argue that we've never really had an opportunity to try out an anarchist society, because even the great examples you just gave, there's never an example where they're left alone.
No, they're always, it's always...
They're always being forced to unify in some way to protect themselves against some huge statist group trying to undo their terrible anarchist, free to, loving of liberty way. And that's all anarchy is. It's liberty. It's liberty. And we've had certain...
It's the truest form of liberty that you can get.
Right. And the thing is, we've tried to do things in the past. The United States was supposed to be this great experiment where it wasn't anarchy, but it was going to be federalism, where federalism was going to guarantee your liberty. This was supposed to actually be, in some ways, it was like, could this be more liberty-loving than even anarchy? To say that no, the only thing the government will do is it will make sure that your liberty is upheld.
Yeah.
But the thing is, whenever these things have sprouted up, like the United States, like France, in their in their revolution in the late 1700s, they don't work. They work to be decent countries. The United States is a great country. France is a great country. But they don't work. They fall apart. They don't say what they're going to do. I mean, I love the Constitution of the United States of America. I think it's one of the greatest documents ever written. But truth is, we don't follow it, guys. We don't. You can pretend like we follow it. You can give examples where we use it as a guideline. But we don't follow it.
If we don't follow it, too, what's the point of having it?
Exactly. And I love the Constitution. Seriously, like, nobody loves the Constitution more than me. But we don't follow it, guys. We don't. And people love to pick and choose what you love in the Constitution. You don't get to pick and choose what you love in the Constitution. You love all the liberty, or you don't get any of it.
And Dorf has chimed in too, and I know Dorf isn't a big anarchy guy. Anarchy is weak. Notice how it always gets eaten up by a stronger, more cohesive culture. It's not so much a culture; it's a more cohesive government.
Right.
And you know what? The only thing that we can do right now is, if you advocate for anarchy, is learn from what has happened in the past.
Right.
The only thing, and I know this is something that we can talk further about on Politics of the Empire, but it's all about how you go about the revolution. Take, for instance, and I'm going to take a more anarcho-communist approach on this, just because that's more what I believe.
As I've said in the past to you, Adam, too, I don't have a problem with anarcho-communism necessarily. I don't differentiate between anarcho-communism and anarcho-capitalism.
Okay.
That's the only fallacy I see. It isn't a problem with anarcho-communism. It's the idea that could change daily. That can change with your mood.
And this is what I'm going to say, is that this isn't something that is going to be undertaken overnight. I mean, the old cliche term, Rome wasn't built in a day. If you are going to have a revolution, you do certainly need to realize what has happened in the past with these certain forms of anarchy. Yes, if somebody was going to try to start an anarchist society today, it would most certainly be crushed by the state. There's no doubts about it. However, if you're very strategic about the way you go about trying to form your revolution, and I know this is probably going to get us flagged by,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
First of all, you think of the military. A lot of people go into the military. Why, Josh?
I don't know.
For benefits.
Sure, right, yeah.
For benefits.
Yeah, for what they get for
they have to pay for school. They need to do something. They need to provide for their family, whatever.
Sure. Get them out of a tough spot.
Yes. If you could sit here and begin to organize yourself where you can begin to detour people away from going into the military, or you can begin to detour people from abandoning the military or defecting to your way of, to your side based on these certain sets of guidelines here. Okay, if you defect to us, if you fight for us, this is what we're looking to put in place here. That's one way that you can go about changing the thinking in order to help your own cause of revolution. And again, this isn't something that's going to happen overnight.
No, it's not.
It's not. But there's certain steps out there that you'll have to take in order to successfully overthrow the state. It's not impossible.
No,
it most certainly isn't impossible. And then from there, you need to make sure that you have... I know there are a lot of people out there have a problem with globalism, especially if you are, if you're somebody who is a, far left or far right. There is a problem with globalism, and I understand that. I'm not talking about globalization when it comes to anarchy. But what I am talking about is internationalism. You do have to have an aspect of internationalism, an aspect of cooperation between different anarchist groups.
Recognition of who else exists.
Exactly.
If nothing else.
Cooperation, solidarity, to help them fight off the other state factions that are going to try to overthrow them as well.
I agree. You know what? And, I want to thank Dorf for chiming in with that, too. And the thing is, do you know what Dorf said? And, we're talking about Dorf from Politics of the Empire and the Majors Live. Thank you for that. He said that anarchy is weak. And you know what, Dorf? You are right.
And you know what, though, too? Go ahead. Finish your thought.
You are right. Because the truth is, anarchy is weak. It's weak because anarchy isn't violence. Government is violence.
Government is violence.
So anarchy is weak. Just like saying, turning the other cheek is weak. Being a Christian is weak. Being a good person is weak. Not caring, accepting that other people are different than you, and that's okay, that's weak. So anarchy is weak. Anarchy is weakness in some ways, because you have to acknowledge that we're accepting that other people are that way, and they're going to leave me alone, and I'm going to leave them alone. But, so that is why anarchy fails, is because the state is powerful. Because government has money and guns. Tanks.
The state is powerful, but but anarchy doesn't have to be weak in the sense of revolution.
It does not.
It doesn't. Anarchy can put down its arms and disband its militias once an anarchist society has been put in place. Now, another thing that Dorf puts in here is anarchy is not achievable with our population levels. Again,
I completely disagree with that.
I go and I invite you to look up the population levels that were in existence with revolutionary Spain and for Ukraine. There was, oh man, I can't remember how many. It was, I don't want to say the tens of millions with revolutionary Spain, but I believe you were looking around 7 million people that were part of an anarchist society in revolutionary Spain.
As our population grows in this world, there is this fallacy.
And I think you're around like 1 or 2 million with Free Ukraine.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
No, there's this fallacy out there that because technology gets... That technology has to breed less liberty for individuals. And I find that I completely reject this idea. The idea that we as human beings become smarter, our technology becomes better, and our way of life becomes better. The idea that that means we have to be less free is ludicrous to me. It is absolutely ludicrous to me. The idea that we could be free in 1789 because we had less stuff and we had less intelligence and less possibilities for gaining information. The idea that we could be more free then than we can be now, to me, it's silly. It's silly. We are becoming smarter, and our technology is advanced. There's no reason in the world why we can't, as we have better computing power, better mechanics, better chemistry, better health, that we can't have better freedom.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And just because, I mean, and I know some people might say too, that, you know, you won't be able to have any of those things, which again, completely, it's not true. I know a lot of Leninists and, you know, and Marxists for that matter will go and say as well that you cannot have, you know, certain aspects of anarchism without some type of state being implemented. And again, there's somebody might have their misconstrued definition of a state.
Sure.
And I'll have mine.
Sure.
And if that's what you want to think, then so be it. So be it. All I know is that the form of anarchy that I see as quite possibly being successful is most certainly a decentralized state.
Sure, and you know, I think you would agree with this statement, Adam, and then we want to get Glen on too soon because we're kind of cutting into his time, but you know, I think you would agree with this statement, Adam, is that, you know, is a peaceful anarchy complete with freedom and liberty for all people? Is it a pipe dream? Maybe it is, but we could at the very least, be moving in the direction of that pipe dream instead of moving away from it.
Sure, absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
You know, I mean, that's what it's about. Move in the right direction. If it takes 1,000 years, let's move in the right direction. But right now, we're stepping away from it, and that's not good. Yeah. And I don't just mean the United States of America. I mean the vast majority of planet Earth. Yeah, the vast majority of planet Earth is it's too engulfed by the state itself. Amen. With some guise that they tell you is liberty and freedom when it's really not. It's not. Sorry to say, but it's not. You know. I'm surprised Glen hasn't called in. Is he nervous? I don't know. I'll maybe I'll shoot him a message here. Maybe because I know Donald Trump's a big government guy, and he's another one of those sheeps, or, you know, wolf in sheep's clothing. Jeez. We're throwing shade at him. If he's nervous, that's fine. I mean, he doesn't... No, Glen is a podcast pro. I'm sure he'll be... I'm not saying he's nervous about being on a podcast. I'm just... nervous about going up against an intellect such as... No. There he is. Jesus Christ. I was kidding. Hey, Glen, what's up, man? You're on the XCast. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me when I don't have to talk about video games, too.
You are welcome. You know what, Glen, I was going to save this for last, but being on a podcast and not talking about video games is it's its own reward, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, it's refreshing. It's like I haven't tasted water in 4 years.
Hey, Glenn, do you like Chrono Trigger?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not gonna be hard to get Glenn to talk about video games.
But I'm not gonna talk Chrono Trigger.
Yeah,
I'm done talking Chrono Trigger.
Glenn's a lot like me. It's not that we don't love video games. It's just, there's funner things to podcast about.
Do you think Final Fantasy was like really overrated?
Depends on which game you're talking about.
Okay, Final Fantasy 3.
No, that's probably the best in the series.
Oh God.
You know what?
Well,
I've never played a Final Fantasy game in my life.
They're
I
fine.
think Final Fantasy VII is overrated, but
I've never played.
totally different governments in both games. You really think about it.
Are there governmental systems in the Final Fantasy games?
Yeah, there are.
Oh, really?
Completely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm a gamer, but I've never played a Final Fantasy game in my life, which I know is kind of weird.
Actually, a lot of them are based on government. Somebody's ruling the world, and they want to overthrow it, pretty much.
Okay.
Well, I told Josh that one of my big trades is when I was younger was trading Super Mario RPG for Final Fantasy 3.
Which one did you receive?
I got Final Fantasy 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you like that trade or dislike that trade?
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, I actually played a lot of Super Mario RPG at the time.
Okay.
And I was ready to,
Move on.
I was most certainly I can't remember if Super Mario RPG was Squaresoft or not, but I was a Squaresoft guy, and I wanted to see, the big rival to Chrono Trigger.
Okay.
I
always thought that game looked cool, but I never played that either.
You gotta play it. I love that we're talking video games
I
right now, too.
I know. I'm sorry, Glenn. We go off on tangents.
If you think about Final Fantasy 3, right? What was the magic in that game? That was oil. It powered all the machines.
Uh-huh.
It powered all of the tanks and war destructive things, and one person wanted to rule it all. Even though he was completely batshit crazy, he wanted to rule everything.
God, that sounds so familiar to today.
Yeah.
So how have you guys been holding up? I mean, the government's been shut down for like almost a month here.
Yeah, are we in Thunderdome now or what? I mean, what's...
I'm gonna have to start foraging for food and water here pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, are we like are the tanks and F-16s like up for grabs now or what?
I wouldn't. That'd be probably the last thing that they would sell.
Oh man, I would take a tank right now. That'd be fucking sweet.
This is what surprises me is nobody's made a GoFundMe for the government. Think about that. There was a GoFundMe for the wall, but no one's making a GoFundMe for the government being shut down. It's almost like people don't care.
It's I've you guys please chime in on this too. I feel like it really is true that like nobody cares that the government's shut down, and I feel like the only people that do care only care because somebody told them to care. I feel like the people that are crying about it the most, like, oh my god, the government's shut down, what are we gonna do? Like, they wouldn't even know if they would not know at all. Well, and I know there's a few people out there. There are some people out there who aren't getting paid. It sucks. I get it. It sucks for them. For those of you that aren't getting paid, it sucks. But you aren't going to get paid though. Your paycheck's delayed. Which, if you're a working class person in America, you've probably dealt with that at some point in your life. I know I have. Dealt with something didn't happen and your paychecks are going to be delayed for a while. It sucks. The only difference is government workers know when it's coming usually. Yeah. But I feel like the people that are the most butthurt about it would not know if somebody on the news didn't say, we need to be crying about this. Like, you need to be upset because the government's shut down. Like, it isn't actually affecting them. They're pretending like it's affecting them. What about the FDA? What about the TSA? What about the... Like, okay, well... You wouldn't even know. You wouldn't know. You wouldn't know if you didn't turn on the news and say, "Oh my God, the humanity."
No, you wouldn't know, but you know what? The reason why, and I told you part of it, Josh. Why
Sure.
I don't like necessarily the government shutdown, just because A, it's not a real shutdown,
Right.
and B, we know that the same government's going to be coming back when it does reopen
Right.
up, quote unquote. But
And then they're just gonna have to make up for all the governmenting they didn't do.
yeah, but not only that, I mean, it's almost like a sanctioned laziness, because we're still paying a lot for a lot of things right now, because you still have to pay tax on everything.
Oh yeah.
Yet the stuff that we're paying tax on, some of it we can't use.
Yeah. Those of us that did get paychecks, no. You know, I know the vast majority of us still did get paychecks. I know it sucks for those government workers that didn't. But those of us that did know that they still took taxes out.
They still took taxes out of it, and the stuff that we do benefit from when it comes to paying tax. I know it may be few and far between, but a lot of that stuff is still unable to be accessed by us because of a lazy government shutdown. And not only that, and again, are people with disability getting disability checks?
I think so.
Like people who are, wheelchairs or whatever, old people who may depend on, Meals on Wheels. I mean, those are the people that I am really concerned about.
I'm pretty sure that has not stopped.
Okay.
But the thing is about it, and when I'm talking about it, like, I make comments. I know I'm crass, I'm rude, I'm obnoxious. I make comments about how I love the government shutdown. But what I'm really saying there is I'm just pointing out the ludicrous nature of it all. Because the government isn't shut down. That's the main thing I'm trying to say here. You know, when I'm obnoxious, and I mean, for those of you who follow me on social media, I've been super obnoxious of late. Just posting this stuff. But that's the idea I'm trying to get across here, is that the government isn't shut down, people.
No, it's not. Okay, this is the thing though. The government's, like, what part of partial government shutdown do people not understand, and what part of non-essential government workers do people not understand? It's a partial government shutdown on non-essential employees. Tell me one business or corporation that has 800,000 people that are non-essential on the payroll.
Yeah, not a successful one.
Not a successful one. Probably someone that's at $20 million in debt.
Well, sounds like our government.
It was probably a company run by Donald Trump. So, sorry, Glenn.
Yeah. No. I mean, keep digging on that one, but he's your president. He achieved the ultimate form of power. Did he not?
He most certainly is our president. Yep. Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well. What was the other choice? Murder in the White House?
Oh, there's Gary Johnson, man.
Yeah, but he didn't have a leg to stand on after the Aleppo bull crap.
Yeah, that was bad. I mean,
that was his death knell in any candidacy.
Yeah, I know. I wish they would have asked the quote unquote, the air quote, real candidates the questions that Gary Johnson was supposed to answer.
Well, yeah, I mean...
While Hillary was, making racist jokes in New York and Donald Trump was talking dick size with Marco Rubio, they were actually asking, Gary Johnson, real questions about foreign policy. And then he had a gaffe, and he's like, "Oh, look at this idiot."
Yep.
But hey, I'm not even a big Gary Johnson fan. He's kind of a clown, to tell you the truth. I'm glad I wasted my vote on him.
Do you guys want to know something that is really scary right now?
Sure. What's up?
And I'm pro Second Amendment. I think the right to bear arms, but we do need checks and balances for people that do have that right. Since the government shutdown,
statist,
the employees that are doing the background checks are getting lazier and lazier and lazier. And it's not about doing their job. I mean, like you guys stated previously, most people that join the military are doing it to provide for their family, but they'll do it by any means necessary. Now, the government programs that check our firearms, I've been, every time I do a government like background check on someone that wants to purchase a firearm, and I run a gun store, by the way, in case people don't know.
It's called Glen's Guns, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
That'd be cool, though.
Yeah, it would be.
Maybe
But,
someday, right?
Someday, if I buy stock, if it ever goes corporate and I buy stock in the company. But the scary part is these government checks, no one gives a shit about on the other end of the line, which are the people doing the background checks. They're all like, well, I'll get back to you when I can. I won't get back to you, which I've had a couple people, and I had to actually log into the FBI website to review what happened and get my own information. They just don't give a shit. And they were already terrible at doing background checks before.
Isn't it?
And now that they don't give a shit, it's like, well, who cares? Anyone can have a gun.
Isn't that typically and I mean, not just guns, but isn't that typically the how the inner workings with government usually is?
I mean, does government do anything properly?
I mean, maybe not give a shit so much, but, you know, run at a snail's pace and take their time and not really care about who they're helping anyway.
I'll tell you what, I mean, the TSA is the one people keep bringing up over and over again. But, I mean, I flew on a plane last week, and the finger in my butthole felt exactly the same as when the government was up and running. I mean, it did not feel, any different. So the TSA still seems to be doing their job. They did not find any terrorists up there either.
No,
not for lack of trying.
I mean, I flew during the government shutdown too, and I really didn't see anything different.
Yeah.
This is what I tell every customer, like when I do a background check and they don't reply back to me or do anything like that, and customer is on the other side bitching at me. I always tell them, well, these are the same people that work at the DMV. What do you expect?
That's a good point.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Do they understand from there, then, Glenn?
Yeah, they do. They're all like, well, I have a license to drive, and I remember the last 2 experiences I had. Yeah, they did a shitty job.
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Good point to make. Comes with experience, though, so... I wouldn't know that.
I've talked to these people on the phone, man. They're about as smart as gas station attendants.
Wow, that's awfully rude to gas station attendants around America.
I think gas station attendants
they have an entire script to read off of. Like, I'm pro-gun, but, like, if you want to really, like, crack down, get into your background checks, because these people have, like, a fucking script that they read off, like, and it's perfect every time until you get the one disgruntled employee, which I've gotten plenty of them before the government shutdown. They were just completely rude to me, and you could tell that they don't give a shit about their job on the other side. I get better customer support from telemarketers.
Hey Glenn, I got a question for you. Since you work at a gun shop and you've expressed you're Second Amendment guy. You're a Second Amendment guy that supports background checks, and I know Josh just he called you a statist while you were doing that.
That's fine. I know Josh's views on that. I see the look on his face. I deal with people every day that want to buy guns, and I've refused people guns just because I was like, yeah, that dude's not safe, so I'm not selling them a gun.
Because you're part of the state. I'm just kidding.
Because this guy picked up a scope for a rifle, looked at it backwards, looked through the big end of it, and goes, there's not much of a zoom to it, is there? I'm not selling that guy a gun. That's just morally... I'm morally not going to sell that guy a gun. If he can't look through a scope the right way, I'm not selling them a gun.
Would that be like
I'm
a guy
sorry.
going in to buy a car and he sits in the back seat and it's like, hey, where's the steering wheel?
It's exactly like that. And you know what? You guys should be thanking me because I probably saved life.
But I mean,
See, and here Adam thought you guys were gonna be disagreeing on things. He's
Well,
like,
I mean-
listen to this guy. Wow.
I think the gun argument is much more complex than people make it out to be.
Hey, I believe that a person working in a gun store has every right to say, no, I'm not selling you a gun because you're a tard. I totally, you know, I just don't agree with the government's right to do that.
Well, my question to Glenn though is that
Why don't the government privatize it and make sure that people that are doing the background checks actually give a shit?
yeah, I mean, well,
Because they wouldn't be making that $15 every government background check. That's why.
Right.
Someone else would be doing a better job, just like the TSA.
well, it's a money thing for government, and
Yeah.
I mean nobody's surprised by that. But Glenn, my question to you is, being a Second Amendment guy, I mean, what's your take on somebody who might say that that background checks or having somebody on a list to not buy a gun, that's just the government trying to come up with every opportunity to prevent somebody from buying a gun who they deem, on their own terms as being a threat when they're actually not a threat to anybody at all. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean by that? I mean, because a lot of the things that, that people might have a problem with who are pro Second Amendment is that I don't like government watch lists. I don't like, having, people who are on the no-fly list also be on a no-gun list, because you could be put on a no-fly list for anything. There's no real guideline for it. Do you see what my question is here?
Yeah, I do, and I can answer that. Like, most of the parts of that, I mean, are useful.
Uh-huh.
The one part that I specifically don't agree with is the domestic violence cause. I think they should do more research and be in that. And I think they should give people an option to oppose it. Because if a couple, I've seen this before too. 100%. I was even a witness in a court case for this. If a woman claims domestic violence when it wasn't, that guy can't buy a gun no more for the rest of his life.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen cases personally, which I testified in court, but technically it was still assault because they got in a person's bubble. Didn't do anything when they got in the person's bubble, but they got in that person's bubble. Therefore, they assaulted the other person. And even though they didn't do anything physically, they can't buy a gun no more. Like, how is that morally right?
So you're saying that there's just too many layers to this to just come down with one simple judgment and take away their Second Amendment right.
There's too many layers that generalize people, but not enough layers that single out mental illness, which I think is the biggest problem on that. Is we should be focused more on people that are mentally ill and give more checks into that side of the spectrum than anything else.
Well, Josh, I mean, as somebody, do you see a problem with the mentally ill, approach to this simply because, can a doctor become politicized in their diagnosis?
I do.
That
I have a huge problem with the idea that one would say that somebody cannot have a firearm because they're mentally ill, because it's deemed through arbitrary means. A lot of the people who we say are mentally ill are former military veterans who have PTSD.
PTSD, yeah.
And I mean, who is more capable of controlling a firearm and using it for the proper methods than somebody in that position. I've known people that some of their, hunting and shooting actually can be a very therapeutic thing for people that are not violent in any way.
That's fine, but there's if you look at like school shootings and stuff, these FBI agents were tipped off months ahead of time that someone was planning something violent. These people had been admitted to hospitals under psychiatric care, yet your government background check that is supposed to look at medical records only looks like it only generalizes it instead of like making it specific. Now, if you can make it specific, you could go, okay, this guy has PTSD, he was in the military, but he doesn't have any issues that would result in him trying to do something bad to other people.
See, I believe that people are guilty until proven innocent. And if you haven't committed...
you think that's the general viewpoint of the world?
I do. I think that is...
That's not necessarily your viewpoint.
What?
It's the general viewpoint of the world.
You don't believe that people are guilty until proven innocent. You just think that's the way that...
I think that's what that is saying. Yeah. I believe that people should be innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just advocating for more closer background checks in mental health. You can separate them and be all like, okay, this guy's in this category and whatever.
I do not believe that any person that hasn't committed a crime should be denied any rights.
But there are people that have committed crimes. That's what I'm saying is like the people that have committed crimes, we've let go.
Well, are they in jail?
No.
Then they've served their time, right? I believe that people who have...
they were committed.
I firmly believe, and I realize a lot of people are going to disagree with this, but I firmly believe that if someone has committed a crime and they are dangerous, then they should be in jail. And if they are rehabilitated and have been released from jail, then they should be afforded the exact same rights as every other individual that is free. I believe that people shall be free or people shall not be free. If you are dangerous, then you by all means should be in prison.
Do you know how often rehabilitation works?
I don't think it works very often at all. But I believe that most of the people who they're attempting to rehabilitate, a lot of them don't need it either.
About, I've had a brother that was rehabilitated from doing bodily harm to himself and drinking and driving. And he still does it. He's sitting in jail as we speak right now.
For drinking and driving.
Now you're talking about trusting the rehabilitation of people that have done stuff that have provoked violence or are on the violent spectrum.
I mean, I don't claim to say that the system is perfect, but the system we have now is imperfect. I'd rather err on the side of having people be free. I mean, that just kind of like the old adage, I'd rather see a guilty person go free than a innocent person be in prison. I mean, and I realize that lends to having less security and more liberty. I do realize that. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to throw out kind of some basic statements that I believe that I agree with, and you guys may not, and you guys can talk about it from there. But to me, I believe that no gun should be illegal that isn't used in violence. I believe that there's no such thing, there should be no such thing as a gun that is illegal to own by anyone. To me, the only illegal act of a gun should be using it against somebody, using it in violence. The ownership of a gun, to me, in no way should ever be illegal. I don't care if it's a bazooka, a machine gun, Saturday Night Special, a .22 Derringer. I don't believe that...
Super soaker.
Yeah, or a super soaker. Even if you have a super soaker filled with bleach, like they claimed that people were doing back in the 80s, which nobody really did. But even if you have a super soaker filled with bleach in your basement, but you have never used it on anyone, I do not believe that is illegal. That should be illegal. Do you guys? And it's okay, but just do you guys disagree with that statement?
I can't disagree, but at the same time, no, I really can't disagree with that.
I'm gonna go a completely different route here, Josh.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say I agree or disagree with you. I'm just gonna lay claim that the whole gun issue is something that isn't merely going to be. It's not going to be solved one way or the other. It's not going to be solved by legislation, and it's not going to be solved by allowing people to own whatever they want. Either which way. There's a fundamental root problem with this country that needs to be... Well, there's a variety of different ones that needs to be solved first. And if, Josh, you want to say that you want to take the stance of erring on the side of liberty, then so be it. The only thing that I'm saying is the way of life, or the type of society that we're living in right now, one way or the other, whether you go more towards the quote-unquote left or the quote-unquote right, isn't going to solve the problem that we have with guns in the country right here and now. So that's going to be my disclaimer to the rest of whatever it is you throw out there. I'm just saying that there's more of a problem to this argument. I'm not saying your argument, but the gun argument in general that can't be satisfied with taking all the guns away, or continuing to pat the NRA on the ass time and time again. So,
right. Well, and that's well said, Adam. And that's one of the fallacies is that you can take all the guns away. It can't be done here in the United States. And truth is, they act like it's been done in other countries, or that it hasn't been done in other countries, or could be done in other countries. But you can't actually do it there either. They took all the guns in Australia, supposedly, a while back. There's still a ton of guns in Australia. They just aren't telling everybody, okay? There really is. You can see pictures of all the dead kangaroo carcasses outside the farms in Australia. They still have guns there. They still do.
No,
and that's I feel like that's something worth noting, is that say, oh, it worked in Australia, it worked here, it worked there. It's like, it really didn't. But you're right. We have a issue with the school shootings and all that stuff. That is true. That could be a whole nother.
That's a whole nother argument. If you want to ask me if I think there's too many guns out there, then yeah, I do think that there's too many guns out there. But what's done is done. You can't go out there and all of a sudden just start rounding up guns. That's not, and Josh and I just railed on about revolution and everything before Glen called in. I think we'd be hypocrites if we went and said that, yeah, they should round up every single gun that they have and not allow anybody to use guns. That's totally going against the point that we were trying to make earlier.
Sure.
You certainly are not going to be able to have a revolution if you don't have access to guns.
Right.
But
yeah.
And hey, Glen, you're kind of an expert in this field too. But the one thing I like to say from a completely philosophical perspective is that if someone wants to debate philosophically whether or not the invention of the gun was a good thing, or maybe the world would be a better place if we never invented the gun, that's fine. That's an argument to be had philosophically. But as I'm sure you can vouch for, Glen, the gun is a very simple machine. It's not like you can get rid of them now, because you could destroy every gun on planet Earth right now, snap your fingers, and Thanos style, and just get rid of all of them, or get rid of half of them like Thanos would. you could do that, but it's not like it's intense science to be able to build a gun.
No, this is...
I mean, they're not hard to make.
This is the thing, like, Trump banned bump stocks, which I was against. And you can make the same thing with a rubber band or a spring. So it's like, unless you ban rubber bands and springs, you're not getting your point across.
Yeah, but by Trump doing this...
But the left was all like, oh, God, he banned bump stocks. Hallelujah. And it's like, you idiots realize that I can make the same thing with a rubber band or a spring.
But by Trump making it illegal, I think this is something that's kind of forgotten, and I was debating this and arguing with a lot of people about the bump stock thing too, because I was very mad about it. To me,
I was mad about it too.
You were mad about the principle of it.
The principle of it. I've never owned a bump stock in my life. I don't even want one. I care less,
you can do
honestly.
The same thing with your finger if you really want to.
You can, and the thing is though, but by Trump doing that,
it's a precedent,
right?
And that's not good.
And what a lot of people do not understand about that, and I'm not calling people dumb for this, but what a lot of people do not understand about him banning the bump stocks, and also, by the way, him saying that you had to surrender them. I'm sorry, that's straight up fascist stuff.
That's look.
That's 1940s fascism.
That's a
right
very
there.
poor choice of words that he used there, and I don't know if he meant to say that, because obviously you know my opinion on Trump and his choice of words. That I hope he didn't choose to use those words.
But it was the law. You had to surrender them.
Yeah.
And the thing is with that is by him classifying bump stocks as automatic weapons, which, again, I've told you guys my views, I don't believe automatic weapons should be illegal, but they have been here for a really long time. Automatic weapons, since the 40s, right? Automatic weapons have been illegal for personal, if you don't have an FFL since the 1940s.
I think the assault weapon ban or whatever, the automatic,
that was in the 80s, the Brady bill.
Yeah, the 80s.
But I mean the banning of automatic weapons was in the 40s. It dates back to the Tommy guns and the mafia gangs in the U.S. Those have been banned for that long. By Donald Trump lumping bump stocks in with full auto weapons, that made your rubber band trick, that made that highly illegal. So that rubber band trick you were talking about, Glenn...
No, it doesn't.
It does, though, because now you're altering a gun to be full auto.
No, you're not, because this is what they banned, is the patent for it.
But he also classified bump stocks.
Bump stocks don't use rubber bands.
I know, but he classified that action as full auto. So now you are modifying your gun to be full auto.
It's a complete troll in my eyes. Is like, I don't agree with it at all. But he was all like, "Well, you can't produce these and sell them anymore," while knowing that you can make the same effect with your finger, a rubber band, a spring, any one of those. So it's like you can't ban he didn't ban the concept of it. He just banned what was already patented.
I mean, for instance, it's very simple to convert a Glock or a Beretta to full auto. One of the reasons people don't do it is because it's
everybody would want to go full auto. You're not accurate at full auto.
No, you're not. But it might be fun.
A semi-automatic rifle and a fully automatic rifle. Why do you think all these shooters prefer semi-automatic? Because you're more accurate.
Sure, yeah. I mean, and that's why the military doesn't hardly even uses full auto. It's a waste of ammunition.
It is. That's for every 223 round going through. That's what, 45 cents a fucking bullet.
Right.
And you're gonna miss with like 10 of them.
Well, you should love the full automatic then, Glenn, because I mean that's more money in your pocket.
I mean, if mass shooters could afford that, then they'd have a good job and they wouldn't need to be shooting up the place. I mean,
I don't know. To me, I think the bump stock thing, it was most definitely lazy legislation, if you ask me. And you're never going to get to the point in this country where they undertake a true approach that's going to work, because ultimately, I mean, it's either somebody being in the pocket of the gun industry, or it's something completely different. I mean, it's just not. I mean, or it's going to be somebody trying to pass legislation to, appease their base or something.
If you guys want to talk like really crazy conspiracy politic theories on guns, take it from me that somebody that has sold guns for a decade now. Barack Obama issued a statement that was like hinting that he was going to ban assault weapons, quote unquote assault weapons, which is just ARs, armor light rifles. That week we had more sales in ARs than any week that we've ever been in business. Now, 2 weeks later, he passes a bill to reduce security checks on all guns. No longer is there a 48-hour waiting period on handguns, which kill more people than any other type of weapon. So there's no longer a human that reviews each background check. It's all automated like YouTube is with their flagging system. All right? So you time that. He tells everyone to be scared. He gets people to buy guns, and then reduces the waiting period and security checks. This is an actual bill that was signed. I noticed a couple days after the bill was signed, the whole website was changed. So it was easier for people to access guns.
So are you... Go ahead.
That right there is making money off of a tragedy and not giving a shit who you give guns to.
Well, I mean, look, if the long and short of it when it comes to somebody like
this is the most amazing part of the entire story, is most government changes to our background system take months before you even realize that they were implemented. This was implemented less than a week after he made his speech about fear of assault weapons.
So are you saying that Barack Obama was more of a friend of the Second Amendment than maybe initially?
If he's not saying that, I'll say it.
No, he's not a threat to the...
a friend. A friend.
Yeah, he is a friend to the Second Amendment. This is the thing, is when these background check policies they take at least 6 months before they're implemented in the website. This was implemented in the website in less than 3 days. Which is funny because you look at his healthcare website, that wasn't implemented till months where it could fully function properly.
That's true. I mean, the healthcare.
A real government conspiracy. Take it from a guy that runs a gun shop. He made fake hype, and then reduced the waiting times in the background checks on all guns.
And a lot of people got rich, right?
Yeah, we had the best year we've ever had selling guns.
I would love for like hard.
Not only did we sell the gun that day, the background check came back that day, because everything was reduced from humans reviewing background checks to an automated system.
I've heard many gun shop guys say this too, that they during Obama's tenure they made an absolute fortune.
Our gun sales skyrocketed,
and you can raise the prices too, right? Because everybody's scared and they need the gun right now, so you can raise the prices of your guns a little bit, bump up that profit margin a little. And...
Well, yeah, I mean, come on, it's capitalism. It's best system in the world. Sorry, socialists. Yeah, I got under your skin on that one.
Capitalism might be one of the reasons why we have so many school shootings and such a problem with guns. But anyways,
Not really, because capitalism is regulated by the free market and not the government, which is doing a complete shit job on doing your background checks right now.
Well, that's
for me. They didn't give a shit beforehand. Now they really don't give a shit when there's a government shutdown.
That's not what I mean, but it's probably a discussion for a different day. But what I will say though about the whole Barack Obama thing, I'm not saying Glenn is wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong, Glenn.
He's definitely not wrong.
I think you're probably right. Yeah, I know. I think you're right. If
paperwork.
Yeah, well, no. I'm saying is if anybody knows about something like this in the in the after effects of saying one thing and then doing another, it's going to be you, since you're directly involved in the industry. What I'm going to say though is I am not surprised, because when you take a step back and look at ultimately who Barack Obama is, or who Bill Clinton is, or who George W. Bush is, I mean, they're a lot closer to the center than many people might want to believe. And when it comes to somebody like Barack Obama, look, I voted for Barack Obama. I would definitely prefer Barack Obama over Donald Trump, that's for damn sure. More so over Hillary Clinton, and I can go on. But the truth is I will use a term from Josh, that Barack Obama is a big D Democrat. And big D Democrats, much like big R Republicans, they are going to have the corporate interest, or a lot of corporate interest, in mind. Whether that's the gun industry, the pharmaceutical industry, so on and so forth. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, whatever they're going to be able to do to help the American economy from what they believe is a legitimate standpoint. That may be a legitimate standpoint from
whoever scratched their back last week.
Yeah, from a capitalist standpoint, that's what he's doing.
It's a lobby thing too.
Yeah.
They don't care about life. I mean, you're going to reduce the time on Chicago's gun checks. I mean, the highest murder capital of the world, pretty much, when it comes to handguns, and you're going to reduce the time that it takes to do a handgun check?
Well, I mean, and we know,
because it's convenient.
Numbers show this very easily, that these people like to pretend like they're enemies with each other, and that's a point I try to make often, is that people like to act like the Republicans and the Democrats are the enemies. They're not. It's the government and the people that are enemies with each other. The Democrats and the Republicans are on the exact same side, and
ultimately,
and truly, when you look at it, think of the people that complain about these guys, and Rush Limbaugh, his ratings are so much better when a Democrat is in office.
Oh, sure.
And MSNBC's ratings are so much better when a Republican is in office. And this didn't start with Barack Obama. Guns sell so much better when a Democrat is in office. I mean, they do. You can look at.
They do.
You can look at Bill Clinton versus George W. Bush even. And what was really the difference between George W. Bush's politics and Bill Clinton's politics?
The letter next to their
crickets,
name.
Yeah, crickets from everyone. They were practically the same person.
They both invaded countries. They both brought on war. I mean, the Bill Clinton thing with Bosnia and the ethnic cleansing. I mean, that may be. I mean, that's obviously terrible what happened there.
Yeah. And George W. Bush was a disappointment because he was soft on the stuff Republicans pretend to care about, and Bill Clinton was a disappointment because he was soft on the stuff Democrats. It's the same thing, guys.
It is. It really is. I mean, you'll realize that, and like you said, the Democrats are the best salesmen. Since Trump has been in office, it's like our sales guns decline at least 35% since Barack Obama was in office.
And and it's true. I mean, I'm sorry, but there isn't one thing. And I'm not going to pretend
the difference is Trump isn't instilling fear upon people. I mean, I'll agree the bump stock ban was bullshit. But Barack Obama would go on TV and instill fear upon gun owners every single fucking week, it seemed like.
You know what?
The thing is with... Go ahead, Adam.
I was going to say, the fear aspect, though, I think came from the notion, maybe the ill-conceived notion that a Democrat's going to take all our guns away.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
I mean that's where the fear ultimately came from because you don't see that fear right now, especially with Trump's base. If Trump's base heard what Donald Trump has said about guns coming from Barack Obama,
oh my God.
Holy shit. You would see people, I mean, you would have lines out the door, Glenn, of your gun shop of people trying to buy up whatever stock you had left.
Oh my God, you wouldn't be able to keep a Moulin Lave sticker on the shelf. I mean,
I'll just point this out: is during Barack Obama, we couldn't keep AR magazines on the shelf quick enough. People would buy 3-4 at a time.
Yeah, and I think that was. I mean, from a citizen standpoint, I think that had more so to do with people on the right being terrified that somebody on the left was going to take their guns away. I don't think it really had anything to do with anything else.
And that's all part of their plan, though, because when somebody on the left is in office, it pushes people to the right, and when someone on the right is in office, it pushes people to the left. Which you saw it with Barack Obama, you see it with Donald Trump. It keeps them taking turns for the presidency.
I had one guy walk into the gun store, right? This was right after Barack Obama made a speech about wanting to take care of the gun problem. He goes, now mind you, these magazines for the ARs are $40 a piece. He goes, I'll buy everything on your shelf. And I go, why is that? Like, I mean, obviously, I want to know why. I'm selling them. He's like, because they want to take away our guns.
Like, no matter how many magazines you got, you only got one gun for it, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, what kills me is that what makes me think is
what grinds my gears.
Yeah, is that you look at the bump stock thing, which maybe I'm making more of the bump stock thing than I should, but to me it is kind of a big deal.
Well, it's the most recent.
But to me, Barack Obama was anti-Second Amendment in his words, but as Glenn pointed out, he wasn't in his actions. Donald Trump is anti-Second Amendment in his actions, but
not in his words.
Right.
I mean, he says all the right things that people want to hear on the right about guns.
I'm pro-Second Amendment.
Yeah.
I'm this, I'm that. Then he bans bump stocks.
Yeah,
Barack Obama tells you that he wants guns off the street.
I voted for the guy. I'll tell you when he's bullshit. The bump stock thing was bullshit.
Glenn, I know you don't live here in Michigan, but here in Michigan, I tried to tell this to some people. We had some downtime at the day job a while ago, and I try to tell people this. We're all Michiganders. We're all people that have lived in Michigan our entire lives. And I said the same thing about our Michigan governors. Our Republican Michigan governors have talked about how they're pro-gun, pro-Second Amendment. And our Democratic governors have talked about how they're anti-gun. But in legislation, it is so not true. It's not true at all.
No,
we got the shall issue carry here in Michigan for our CCWs under Governor Jennifer Granholm. Our gun rights have never been more infringed here in Michigan. In Michigan's Constitution, it actually not only, I mean, we all have the Second Amendment, but Michigan's Constitution actually doubles down on the Second Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
And it is so plain and so clear about your right to bear arms that it's it's, I mean, it goes about as far as you can.
Is it because of the hunting aspect here in the state?
Yes, it also actually even dates back to renegade escaped slaves.
Okay.
It was actually saying that Michigan's Constitution actually goes out of the way to say that all persons, and they make sure to use the word persons, not citizens.
Okay.
In the Michigan Constitution, which basically says that here in Michigan, you're supposed to, again, they don't always follow the Constitution, but here in Michigan, you have an absolute and positively right to bear arms and carry them, even if you are not a citizen, if you are a member of an Indian tribe, if you are an illegal alien. That doesn't take away your right to bear arms in the state of Michigan.
But you can sure bet, though, if a state trooper pulled over an illegal immigrant who had a gun in the car, they're going to be taking him away in handcuffs.
Or a legal immigrant who has never committed a crime in his life, yes. But no, our rights have never been more infringed as gun owners than they were under John Engler. Governor, Michigan governor, Republican governor for 12 years.
I will tell you this: I have yet to sell a single AR clip since Donald Trump has been in presidency, and right now is when you want to buy as many AR clips as you possibly can.
They're just getting dusty on your shelf. Well, they used to be flying off of it.
Somebody actually infringed on your gun rights, and you're not doing anything about it. Although this guy on this side,
you can have my bump stock.
This guy on this side talked about your gun rights, and you bought up the whole fucking store. So it's like, right now is the time that you should be buying stuff, but you're not.
Glen's propping up his chair at work with AR-15 magazines.
I'm just staying out of it. Like, I have yet to sell a AR-15 magazine since Trump has been president.
That's crazy. I mean, that's
During
weird.
Obama, I couldn't keep them on the shelf.
Wow, that's interesting.
And he wasn't actually infringing on your gun rights.
Well, you don't need this many magazines now because bump stocks are illegal, so you can't shoot them as fast.
I mean, heaven forbid you have a nub instead of a bunch of fingers.
Right. Yeah. Glen, anything else? We're running out of time here. Do you want to mention the MAGA Kids at all?
I do actually.
I know that was something you wanted to bring up, and then we'll wrap it up with that. But
Adam, what's your point of view? Because you guys actually released an article that was kind of disgusting.
Why was it disgusting?
Because you didn't wait for the facts.
What facts were they?
Well, let's break it down here.
Okay, go ahead.
What you saw and what I saw.
Okay.
We'll have civil debate here.
Adam, you do acknowledge though that they kind of they jumped the gun on parts of it though, right? I mean,
potentially, but go ahead, Glen.
Potentially.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead, Glen.
Okay. So when I was first queued in, it was like everyone else. The articles and the videos were being released. There was one video, and upon viewing it, I was like, "What's the big deal?" Like, everything that these articles are claiming isn't happening in the video, and everybody got outraged about it. And I mean, on Facebook, you can go back through my archives and stuff. I was telling people, let's just wait this out. See what's going to come down the pipeline, because the narrative that everyone's spinning it towards, I don't see at all. Let's see if there's another side to the story. Let's not just get one side. Apparently, there's 3 sides of the story, which nobody's reporting on the third side, which are the Hebrew Israelites that were shouting things that I don't even want to say, because they're so disgusting at these kids. And that was minutes before the video that went viral was recorded. I mean, that came out the day after everybody was reporting on this story. And from my initial eyes, what I saw was a bunch of teens acting like teens. What can you expect? I'm willing to bet all of us on this podcast have done way more immature and dumb shit than those teens could. And
contextually, as it relates to that, I can say that I haven't. Have I done dumb stuff before? Yes, but in that regard, no.
Yeah, honestly, I will say this: before I even knew what, because they did improperly report this big time. When it first came out, I was annoyed that they were as a dad. As a dad, I was annoyed that, like, okay, so some kids acted like assholes.
Okay,
I don't care. Like, it was not that big a deal to me. I thought it was actually kind of a silly idea that you would say that some kids who were acting like jerks, and as it turns out, they weren't acting like as big a jerks as I thought they were from the original reporting. I thought, since when can kids bully a Vietnam veteran? Like, that's not a thing. I know Vietnam veterans and I know kids, and like it doesn't work that way. All right.
It can when you have a vast number.
Well,
of them.
but you can walk away, and he wasn't. He had not only did he not walk away, but he was the one that walked into it. He
walked by them.
I mean, to me that kid who's smirking in the picture, he looks like a nervous and scared kid.
Now that you say that he walked by them, that like totally fuzzies the whole narrative that was originally brought up. Because the original narrative was he didn't walk up to him. These kids surrounded him, and he couldn't escape.
Okay, but they did surround him, though.
He never made any attempts to go around anybody.
Okay, but they did surround him, though. He was, I mean, from what I saw, he was trying to diffuse the situation between the Black Hebrews and the MAGA Kids. And then when he walked by them, that's when they started to swarm him. They swarmed him. They got him from the front, and then they got him from the back. And even there was a lady in there too that said, "What are you guys, 16? You're acting like a mob." Now, I don't know if she was with the guy or if she wasn't with the guy, but that's what she said in the video. And I know that somebody brought up something on the website, you know, well, how come he didn't go up to the Black Hebrews and he went up to the kids? Okay, well, you're asking me why he turned left instead of right. I don't know. And if that's what you're coming at me with, then okay, then you got me there. The only thing that I know is what I saw in the video. He went up there. He didn't barge into them or anything like that. He went up there to him with his drum, and they swarmed him, and they looked like, and yeah, they did. They looked like shitheads while they were doing it.
Perhaps they did. What is the proper response when someone walks up to you, gets in your face, and starts playing a drum?
Okay, do you start to sit there and mock it though? I mean, is that?
I might. I don't know.
Is that what you do? I mean,
what is that proper behavior though, to get in somebody's face as they're playing a drum?
Okay, well, was he in their face initially? I don't think he was. I think a lot of the kids. I think that one kid in particular came up to him while he was playing the drum. But he wasn't pulling a Will Ferrell here with cowbell and going up to somebody's face.
But this is a crappy situation that people are put into, and then you're gonna criticize how somebody handles it after they've been shouted down, and this is a messy situation, and you're judging the way kids reacted.
Okay, but you know what though too? There wasn't just this incident. I mean, a lot of people
let's focus on the incident at hand here.
Okay, but it's not okay. But Glenn, hold on a second, Glenn. The other stuff adds more context to what happened. But go ahead.
You know what though, Adam? One thing too, this you're right, though. This isn't the only incident. As it turns out, what we knew about this tribal leader is false as well. What we thought we knew about him.
Well, what we know about the kids as well, and that school they came from.
And that he has a history of inciting things.
Okay.
You know, in
Josh,
in
I will address that, but Glenn, go ahead.
Okay. No, I wanted you to go ahead on your original point because you were trying to address it to me. I'm sorry. I
lost track. So say what you need to say, and then I will respond to Josh.
Okay. So if you believe me, I probably watched all forms of the video more than anybody that you know. Like, there's 4 actually significant videos that you can paint this whole picture from. The first one is these black Hebrew Israelites.
And I'm not defending them. I'm not defending them.
No. And what I want to say is, why is nobody reporting on them for the actual racist stuff that they said?
No,
why isn't the left reporting on them, showing the videos of the racist stuff that they said? Because it doesn't fit the narrative. You have a bunch of grown adults yelling racist stuff towards these kids, and that they're just waiting for a bus.
I wouldn't make him out to be that innocent, but go ahead.
I will with kids. I will. I really will make kids out to be innocent when everyone else.
Not in that sense.
Why are any of these people doing this to kids? I'm sorry. Why are any
no?
Of these
and like I said, I'm not defending the black Hebrews in this sense. Absolutely not. They were completely in the wrong too. They shouldn't have. They most certainly shouldn't have been doing that, and they definitely need to be held accountable for it.
I mean, why isn't
the media reporting on that?
Because you didn't have. Now, okay, if the tribal leader went up to them and that's what happened from there, then you would probably have something come about with that.
Well,
that's not what happened. That's not what happened.
Let's put in context what really happened is these black Hebrew Israelites were chanting racist stuff, like despicable stuff that I won't even mention on this show, right? And then immediately when the kids start to react, they chant their own school anthem. That's when the original video pressed record, and it was conveniently after the Native Americans walked up to them. The kids did not walk up to the Native Americans. Nathan Phillips walked up to these kids and started banging a drum in their face.
Okay, he wasn't banging the drum in their face. He wasn't. I mean, as much as you want to try to push that, he wasn't banging the drum in their face.
Dude, how big is your bubble?
What are you talking about?
Like,
I watched the same video that you watched.
Before someone invades your bubble.
Okay, he didn't walk into their house and do this. As far as I'm concerned, they came up to him after they swarmed him as he was walking by him, and it was them that was getting in his face too.
They did not walk up to him. He walked up to them.
Why is any of this appropriate with children? Is the question I have.
The kids.
I mean, if these kids were being jerks, why isn't Nathan Phillips talking to some sort of chaperone and saying, "Hey, your kids are being jerks"?
Why is what being appropriate? I mean, it's not like he was yelling the racial stuff to them. I mean, he was banging a drum and singing a song.
Why was he there? I don't get why he was there. I don't get why
he was there for the Indigenous March. That's why he was there. He was there for the same reasons that they were there.
No, but they weren't there. They were leaving in a bus. They weren't. There wasn't anything going on.
Maybe
there.
he was trying to defuse the situation. Maybe that's what he was trying to do. And if you want to call bullshit on that, then I'm going to go ahead and call bullshit on you guys. That if you think that not you guys, but anybody who's trying to push the narrative that these were just innocent kids minding their own business. When I'm sorry, but that wasn't the case.
They weren't at their march yet.
Especially based on some of the other stuff that has come out regarding these kids.
They were going to a pro-life rally.
Oh,
very peaceful one.
Okay, yeah, that's the thing here. That's the thing that other people want to push too. Oh, they were just going to a pro-life rally to talk about, about people.
They weren't even there.
Yes, they were there for that. But that
they were getting on the bus to go to that.
But in a lot of sense, that has nothing to do with what happened here.
They were getting on a bus to go home. Show me the video that you saw where they were actually part of the rally instead of not attending it.
Who cares about the rally? I mean, that's not what I'm getting at here.
I think we've established that people aren't going to look at the video the exact same way. But what I'm wondering is, can we acknowledge here that the press, that the media did a terrible job of reporting this? Especially initially, the way it was covered. I mean, we were given the epitome, to use a term that I'm so sick of hearing. We were given the absolute definition of fake news.
Okay, if you want to say the press did an awful job in saying that these kids sought out this guy and went after him and got around him from that adage, then yes, that was.
Who did they seek out? What was the big thing that the press was saying that they sought out?
You tell me.
That they sought out a Vietnam veteran, which we now find out that isn't true either. He's actually not a Vietnam veteran.
So yeah, your story gets a little bit less
again.
credible.
Who cares?
Because that was told
Okay, but that doesn't take away from them totally disrespecting
so they were lying and they don't even care.
Okay, but I'm not even talking about the media. I'm not even.
But I am.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, okay, Josh. Yeah, the media did a terrible job doing it, but that doesn't take away from the fact that, yes, you know what? I will stand by the headline that we posted that these kids were acting like shitheads.
Okay, so does that mean, though, that because some kids who are not even old enough to vote, that because they, let's just go with what you said, Adam, that they were acting like shitheads? Because this is what I was saying after the first day, that I'm going off of the reaction I had gutturally when I first heard about this before I learned any of what we kind of know now is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that because some kids acted like assholes, that the entire Trump movement is racist? Does that mean that everyone that agrees with things that this side is purported to believe in, that is evil because some kids wearing MAGA hats acted like dicks? What does that mean? I mean,
are you saying,
so some kids acted like jerks. Does that mean that?
Are you saying because of
why did they act like jerks?
X equals Y in this sense? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. I don't understand that. Let's pretend for argument's sake that some kids in MAGA hats acted like complete assholes.
No, well, if you're asking me,
does that mean that the entire movement? Does that mean that it's wrong to be white? Does that mean that it's wrong to be a Trump supporter? And I'm not a Trump supporter, you know that. Does that mean that it's wrong to be pro-life? Does that mean that it's wrong to be anything just because some asshole who's wearing a hat said something?
Okay, you're asking me if I think all Trump supporters are racist. No, I don't. I don't think all Trump supporters are racist.
Okay, but pretend, regardless of whether you do think Trump supporters are racist or don't think Trump supporters are racist, is it legitimate data to say that they are or are not because some kids wearing Trump hats acted like assholes? I mean, is that where is the data that backs that up in any way at all?
The hats that they were wearing, it adds to the context of it. It adds to the context based on the rhetoric that the President of the United States has expressed himself, whether it be on Twitter or what. What's so funny, Glenn? What's so funny? It's true. Everything that I'm saying is true. The rhetoric that Donald Trump has said.
You just proved my original point.
What's your original point, Glenn? What's your original point?
It's not about a smile. It's about the hat that they were wearing.
No, I'm saying no, because you know what? You could have had you could have had somebody who was wearing a Donald Trump hat there doing completely nothing. And that would have been fine.
The kid did.
No, but and you know what? Maybe he's not a racist dickhead too. Maybe he's one of the kids in that group that isn't a racist, bigoted dickhead.
Yeah, he handled the situation better than I
and
ever
I don't think I ever insinuated that every single person in that group were racist or so on and so forth.
We're not saying you did, but that was definitely.
Well, it seems like that's what Glenn is trying to put forth here.
That's what the MSM was pushing.
Okay.
In that first day, for sure.
Okay.
And many of them have backtracked and have acknowledged, including the New York Times.
What I'm saying is the mocking, and say what you want about Elizabeth. Hold on, Glenn. Hold on. No. Say what you want to say about Elizabeth Warren, but the way that he uses the term Pocahontas, the way that he brought what again? What? That's something that the President of the United States should be doing when referring to a sitting United States senator?
Absolutely.
That's something. Okay. Well, then, Glenn, from that standpoint, you are a dickhead when it comes to something like that. The way that he brings up the Wounded Knee thing, it's obvious that he doesn't have much respect for the Native American population in this country.
Oh, okay.
It is abundantly clear that he doesn't have much respect.
Because he called him a fake American Indian for being a fake American.
No,
Indian.
the way that he uses the term in and of itself. He could just go and say, "Hey, Elizabeth Warren, you are a liar, and you're doing a disservice to the Native American population by trying to claim something that you are not." Instead, he's using some shitty term to describe the situation because he thinks it's funny with his base, which obviously it's working if Glenn is sitting here cracking up about it.
Well, listen, Adam, I agree with you. I do not like the way the President of the United States talks. I don't like the way he insults people at times, but I will also say I'm far more insulted, and I think it's far more insulting to Native Americans that Elizabeth Warren lies about her heritage. That she blatantly lied about her heritage.
And I'm not saying that's right either. I think that that's absolutely wrong for doing that.
Don't you think that they should be called out upon it?
Yeah, but not in the way that he's doing it.
Well, we all agree that Donald Trump doesn't call people out properly from time to time. I mean that's him. That is him. I don't like it either. Some people do. In this particular case, he isn't wrong. Elizabeth Warren is a liar. I mean, she is an absolute liar. Do I think there's a better way to call her out on it? Yeah, I do. But in today's day and age, is that the only way that would perhaps work to expose her as a liar? I don't know. I would like to say no. I hope that's not the case, but it seems like maybe it is. Maybe that's the only way anybody hears it.
Make memes for days, ladies and gentlemen. Make memes for days about her lying about being a Native American.
But you see, the way that he's going about doing it doesn't show much respect for the Native American movement as a whole. Okay,
What,
laugh
calling
about
her
it. Okay,
out?
laugh about it all you want, Glenn. But that's
Calling
but
her
that's,
out and then making fun of her.
No,
for...
call her out about it, but do it in a respectful way that you're not disparaging the group of people that she's also taking a dump on.
Well, unfortunately, though, for decades we had politicians, and again, I'm not trying to stick up for Trump. I can't stand the way Donald Trump talks. I hate his tweets. I don't like it. But for decades and decades, we had politicians that called each other out in the proper way for lies they told, and we got nothing for it. We had nothing for it. All that happened because of that was that our politicians were able to perpetuate those lies and keep them going forever. Now, quite honestly, I don't know that Donald Trump's method works either, because Elizabeth Warren's still a senator. Quite honestly, I don't know how you lie about something like that or make something up like that and try to get votes and still turn around and are a senator and people still vote for you. I don't even get it. So I'll be the first one to say I don't get how Elizabeth Warren's still a senator. I don't get how Donald Trump's the president.
They look at it.
It's a weird world we live in.
Someone made a meme about her. I should feel sorry for her because she's on my same political side.
Huh?
What were you saying, Glenn? I'm sorry. I think we kind of were talking over you at first.
I said someone made a meme about her, and now we should all feel sorry about her and vote for her, even though she's not really on our political side.
Oh, I see what you're saying. The vast majority of the time people get voted for, it's because they have an R or a D next to their name. That's the country, and that's kind of the sad truth of, party duopoly, in essence.
But this is what I want to ask Adam, is if somebody came up to you after they were in a group of people that were calling you racist things and demeaning things towards you, and they started banging a drum and chanting in your face, how would you react? I would have to say that the kid that smiled reacted far better than I would
walk away. I would walk away.
Now you would walk away, and then the media would tell everyone that you don't respect this guy's chant, so you walked away.
Okay. Okay, you're bringing up a hypothetical that
it's not a hypothetical.
Yes, it is, Glenn. That is a total hypothetical. I would walk away from the situation. I can tell you one thing: I wouldn't sit there and mock it. I would not sit there and mock it.
What was the mockery going on? The only instance of mockery.
Okay.
The colored
all right.
person.
You know what? Josh.
Okay.
I'm done.
Glenn and
done.
Adam, we have
done.
decided that you guys definitely view the conversation was good.
I'm not getting to a circular argument.
You guys
about
both
this.
made some great points, but we're we've made it very clear that you guys don't agree on what happened that day. Adam, anything else you want to throw out there?
No, I'm good.
Okay, and Glenn, anything else you want to throw? We covered the MAGA kids, but anything else you want to throw out? We'll have you on again.
If you want to change my mind, you're more than willing to.
No, minds aren't going to be changed when it comes to something like this.
As we've discussed on the show many times, the minds we're trying to affect, or the minds we're trying to not even change necessarily, but pump.
That's fine, but I think media should be held responsible for trying to destroy these kids' lives when they weren't even the agitators.
Yeah, and I know what you're saying, Glenn. I do. You guys both made some good points. You actually really did. I know you're both on opposite ends of this argument here. But like we've talked about, Glenn, a lot, Adam and I say this frequently on this show, that I don't know that we're even trying to change minds, but the minds we're trying to affect, or the minds we're trying to pump information to, aren't necessarily each other's. We have our opinions, but that's why we do a podcast for the people out there listening. So people have heard Adam's take, they've heard Glenn's take, they've heard my arbitrary, innocuous take, pumped into the middle a little bit. So people can make their own people can make their own minds up about this stuff. But Glenn, anything else real quick that you want to say about any other different issues? And we can have you on in that.
I know. I'm not getting along with Adam right now, but thank you for having me.
Hey, Glenn, I own a Milwaukee Brewers hat, and I love it. So
it's not going to be the Brewers. I guess somebody bought out. American Family Insurance bought out the rights to Miller Park. So,
Really?
So wait, they're what are you getting at here?
They're changing the name.
They're gonna change the name of the Brewers?
I don't know.
Really?
They can't do that.
It's up in the air. Miller Park's definitely to be changed.
Okay, why the hell were we wasting our time with the MAGA Kids for the past half hour when we could have been discussing a real issue?
Yeah, it's definitely a real issue. It's the highest bidder. Now it's probably going to be called American Family Park.
What are they going to be, American Family Video or something like that? Is that going to be the team name?
Which sounds so wimpy.
Yeah, that's terrible. That is terrible, dude. If they changed it, if they're not the Brewers anymore,
I bet they'll still be the Brewers.
That would suck.
No, that's, you know what, though, if they change the name, it's a marketing nightmare.
It is.
You can't do that.
Yeah, the Milwaukee Agents. That's who you have.
You can't do that. No way.
Hey, Glenn, we appreciate having you too as our new political consultant. You want to do this every 4 or 5 weeks or so?
Yeah, I'd be down. Sorry, Adam, we got in a heated debate.
Hey, that's what happens.
That's why we have that's why we do it, man. That's all right.
If it didn't get heated, it'd be boring sometimes.
I still love you both. Just so you know.
We love you too, Glenn.
Thanks. Hey, thanks for the intel on the Brewers too. I didn't know anything about that.
Yep, American Family Park.
That's dumb.
That is dumb. That's really dumb.
Sounds like,
especially when they're like, oh, we can't have it called Miller because that's
sounds like Pat Robertson owns the team.
Exactly. That's endorsing beer, but guess what? I bet they're still gonna sell beer.
Oh, they're gonna sell a lot of beer there.
I mean, God.
Yep, it's the Democrats' chance to sell more beers to the Republicans.
Is the beer there really good? Is it? Do you think it's like better than?
It's top notch. It's brewed the same day that every ballpark.
Have you ever been to another park?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would assume that it's probably the best there.
Yeah, they deliver it. It's only a couple blocks down. Miller.
The brewery.
Oh, really? So like the beer is like fresh, like it's.
Yeah, they actually have their own brewing station at the park.
Really?
I'm surprised more places don't undertake something like that.
You've tasted the beer there, Josh?
I have. I've also tasted the cheese curds there, which are insanely awesome. That I've woke up in the middle of the night thinking about the cheese curds from Miller Park before. I'm not even kidding.
They raised the prices, son.
Did they really? The cheese curds? How much they cost now?
Yeah. Like $9, man.
Oh, it's still worth it. It's still worth it.
Cheese curds.
Taxation's theft, but yeah, I mean.
Are you paying tax on that?
I don't know.
Yeah, you do.
You gotta pay
tax on everything in the ballpark.
When I went to when I bought cheese curds there the first time, I bought a bag, turned around, popped one in my mouth, and turned back around and bought another bag. I was like,
fresh, man.
Yeah, I was just oh, damn. I'm like, okay, never mind. Here, give me one more bag of those. She's like, I told you they were good. Yeah, you're.
Adam, come on, Brewer game one of these times. We'll get drunk together and we'll debate MAGA teams.
Well, I don't drink, but I would. I would
eat cheese curds.
I will sample a cheese curd to see if I like it or not. I'm sure I probably will. I'd like to see a Brewers game though.
Yeah. Oh, it's a cool stadium, man. It's seriously.
I want to see it. I think that those are stadiums that I want to see.
Yeah.
Same thing. I think it's Chase Field in Arizona is very similar to it. Although they're trying to, I think the Diamondbacks are trying to leave Chase Field.
Really?
And go someplace else. Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's what Brewers were doing, but they didn't do it until today.
Man, that's so. Hey, I mean, it's Miller Park is, from what I could see, is a million times better than County Stadium.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you don't have the experience of having splinters in your ass just sitting by the bench seat.
County Stadium looked like a dump on top of a dump.
It was, and the only background that you had in the outfield was the ghetto. That was it. It was projects for days.
Yeah, that was the flaming turd that started the dumpster fire.
Democrats.
Hey, Glenn. Hey, man. Thanks for calling in, man. We'll talk with you soon, dude. We'll get you back on in a few weeks. We had deep issues next week, and then 2 weeks after that too. So it'll probably be after those shows. But we'll get you on again soon, bud. All right.
Thanks. I'm sure there'll be another group of people to chastise over.
Yeah, maybe
Need a debate, so
maybe a Mexican guy will go into a bunch of MAGA kids, and that can be the next topic.
Hey, Trump's numbers are raising with Mexicans.
According to him.
Then it's got to be true.
It's
right?
got to be true, yeah.
Hey, Glenn, thanks, man. We'll talk to you soon, buddy.
See you, Glenn.
Yep. Bye.
All right, do we have a news section, Adam, or we just want to wrap it up?
Yeah, let's wrap it.
Yeah, no, we went over tonight. So, hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. It's a fun show. That was Glen Updike, our new political consultant and XCast contributor. I am Josh, and Adam is, of course, the one doing all the actual hard work over here, pressing all the buttons that I don't know how they work. But thanks, everybody, for tuning in. This has been episode number 96 of the XCast. We'll see you next week with Politics of the Empire and with Deep Issues, where our topic will be the godfather of conspiracy theories, Milton William Cooper.
I'm sure Dorf is going to want to further add his 2 cents to our anarchism.
Oh, I hope so.
Talk,
I hope
next
so.
week too. So expect a continuation of that.
That does kind of tie into our topic next week.
Yes,
too.
it does. Very much so.
So we will. It won't be too far off the beaten path of the major topic to discuss that next week. So 2 really cool shows next week. We've been preparing for them for a while, so they'll be good ones. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye for now.